Welcome back to Built from the Bottom, guys, and this is part 2 of my custom GSX-R 1000 build. So this is just a pile of parts right now, but it's actually a pile of parts for a 2012 GSX-R 1000, and I kind of tore the whole thing down in part 1, down to the bare frame, swing arm, and subframe, and also just the 2 wheels. Dropped those off at powder coat, and Nick actually just hit me up saying that the frame is done from powder coat, so we're gonna head over there real quick, pick that up, and then start getting into work on putting this whole thing together. But I just put new gears in on my 2-door Jeep, so it needs to go through a couple cycles of breaking them in. So it's like 75 degrees out here in Florida, so what a good time to take the doors off, have a nice little enjoyable ride to go pick this frame up, and then we can get back into building this GSX-R 1000. Alright guys, I just got back to the shop and it's already dark out because, you know, your boy likes to talk a lot. But we got more than just the frame and the swing arm. I just got in my leathers for the JKU build, so those are going to be going on those seats. Right here's the frame. The thing looks sick, and also I know I didn't show you guys me repairing the actual like dent in on the frame, but that's all good to go. Let's get this stuff inside and start working on the bike. So I got this inside right here already unwrapped, and I kind of did something off camera. I put the swing arm bearings in because you guys don't want to see the way I put them in, because I got a bunch of comments on how I pressed them in there, more like pound it. I got all this stuff right here. What I'm going to do now is pretty much just put all the hardware in on the frame and then mount the swing arm into the frame and then the shock onto it. So that's like the first part of like putting this thing together. If you guys watched my video on that 07 GSX-R 1000, it's pretty much the exact same process. So we're gonna get right into it, start putting this thing together. And I gotta say, the gloss black frame is a must. You know, less is more on a build like this because I'm doing such like a, you know, out there fairing kit on this bike. I could only do a gloss black frame. I wanted to do something more because, you know, when you're paying to get something powder coated, you want it to kind of stand out. But let's get right into putting this all together. Just got these mounted up, and then I went over here to grab the shock, and it's really dirty. And from what I saw last time, I definitely can't be putting this on this bike all dirty. It'll get all y'all triggered. So let's clean this thing up real quick. There we go. The swing arm is secured inside of the frame. I got the shock all mounted up properly. So you know the next thing to do right here is going to be get the engine inside of the bike. But if you remember from my other video, the best way I figured out to put an engine inside of a street bike when it sits like this is actually put the engine like, you know, properly up and down on the floor, and then walk the frame on top of it and put the rear sliding bolts that hold the engine inside this frame, put those in, then secure the front part of it, then proceed to lift the bike up off the ground once the frame is mounted properly inside of the engine. So let's get right into that. That should be pretty easy because this has all been done before. I just got the engine mounted up inside of the frame. I'm actually going to reuse these Vortex frame sliders because all I have to do is get a new rubber mount for the right side of the bike. So we'll swap that out, put a new mount, or put a new rubber, new rubber piece on this. Frame's looking pretty mint with the engine inside of it. So now the next game plan is going to be lift it up from the front and slide the new forks in. I got a new set of forks in right here in the box because if you guys watch part 1, this bike did not come with a whole front end because the guy took the front end out of this and put it inside his Hayabusa. But before we get into that, it's actually the next day and I just picked up a set of tires for the Jeep build. I was gonna go with 40s, but a good deal on some tires popped up. Right here, some 37 by 1350 Fuel MTs for a 22-inch rim. I also wanted to run a 24-inch rim, but I figured, run some 22s on it and it'll look sick. This Jeep build, it'll look sick regardless of, 22 or 24. But enough of that, let's get back into building this bike because I'm freaking fired up. I'm fired up to get this build done. It's the mullet that's getting me all hyped up right now, Got a compliment on it and it's looking like a full-on mullet now. But let's get right back into this build, you guys. There we go. That front end went on about 10 times easier than the other one because, the races were proper and I wasn't sitting there like a bozo trying to figure out why it wouldn't slide in. This one went right in, super easy. Got it here on the stands now, and I figured the next thing to do is lift the front up and push these shocks down. Even though we do have a lowering link in the rear, these are dropped, I want to say 2 or 3 inches. So we're just going to loosen that up and have it so the front end only sits down 1 inch. And then I'll figure out how low the back really is once I get the wheels on it and it rolling, so then I can have it even. But we'll push these up real quick and then mount the upper triple on this. I got these forks all mounted up. They're lowered 1 inch up here in the front. And then I came over here, started piecing together the subframe. And what I'm gonna do is actually, before I tighten down all these bolts right here, mount it up to the bike. And on something like this, I had to kind of break out this thing. I don't know exactly what this tool is. I think it's called a torque wrench. And I get a bunch of comments of people saying I'm not using this thing, so I guess I'll bring it out and actually show you me using it on camera, since you guys are thinking I'm not torquing stuff. But we're going to put that frame on first, and then tighten down all the little hardware that holds that on, and then get the little plastic tray in. The subframe's good to go. I got everything torqued to spec. We got the ECU, fuse box, tip over sensor, all that stuff is where it needs to be inside the rear end. And now we're gonna move over here to the front of the bike, mount the radiator up. It gets held on with just 2 10mm bolts at the top. And then also mount up the handlebar controls. This is going to be a wrap for right now on this build. I got the controls up here in place. I still need to, I'm probably going to just remove this upper triple when I get the ignition for this bike and put these wires where they need to go. Radiator's mounted up, that's all good. But before we end this video right here, you guys, I got a question to ask. So in the comments, please let me know what you would rather see for a midweek upload, me finishing the Daytona 675 or the 2007 GSX-R 1000. You guys can go down in the comments, say either Daytona 675 or GSX-R 1000, and whichever one I see more comments of, I'm gonna release that video first. But that's gonna be it for right now. Also, I got axles out on the Jeep. Those are gonna go get powder coated, and I got some stuff, some more goodies, but that'll be for another Jeep video. You guys don't want, the bike people don't like watching the Jeep content, so we're not gonna talk too much about the Jeep. That's it for right now, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out.